Good morning, my friends. You are watching on your TV on the Smart Money Culture TV network in Texas and Louisiana, and joining as well, welcome from around the world as we stream on all of these wonderful platforms that they give us. I think for the first time, we're streaming on Rumble as well. Streaming, just set up that thing there, just set up that channel, and we'll see. We'll see. You have to do a couple things before they let you stream. I've been uploading some videos over there, Impact Money Show, but hopefully we're streaming today. We'll see as things go on. Pretty interesting day. Of course, we have a 0.7 magnitude earthquake over in Japan. Pretty big earthquake. I haven't gotten a whole lot of news out of that. Just saw that it was happening. We have, of course, the markets are in a bit of rebound. Dow futures are lagging, though. Notably, Dow futures are lagging. Dow futures are still down, but the rest of the market seems to be recovering. I ran signals yesterday that they are not going to retaliate now or whatever. They're going to be a little bit more strategic about everything. That sent the markets up. Of course, everybody, even as you're buying into the dip, you're thinking, okay, it could go lower. It could go lower. It could go lower. Dollar cost average, as we always say, very good strategy at times like this. And if you did dollar cost average into the dip like we did, you're pretty happy right now. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you watch the show and you take some of our signals and you use them, because there is a big transfer of wealth that's happening, and you should be a part of it. I had a great interview with my friend. Stephen Melnick, which I'll play a little bit later. Stephen is a good friend of mine, and he has his Lives Amplified network, unbelievable network that he's put together. So I'm going to talk to him. I'll bring that interview on the show a bit later. Big news really in the TON ecosystem. I talk about TON quite a bit, right? I talk about TON. TON is listed on Binance. I didn't even know it wasn't listed on Binance. Of course, Binance is not available for us here in the U.S. There might be Binance U.S. I don't really participate in these types of exchanges that make you give all your information and stuff like that. So I wouldn't know totally, to be honest. But anyway, they get listed on Binance. Binance is the largest by volume. I mean, they're head and shoulders above everybody. That's the deal. So they're going to get on Binance. That should give us a nice big pump. And already today, as a matter of fact, you saw a big move on TON. Let me just pull that up here and I'll take a look at it. It was going to do a big move anyway. It had pulled back quite a bit, but yeah, up 6.5% on the day. It was about 10%. Pulled back a bit in the last hour. A lot of times the way that'll work is you have a bit of a pullback or something on Bitcoin, and then that'll affect the whole market. But overall, I expect that to continue, because TON ecosystem, we talk about it all the time, the TON ecosystem is booming. It's booming. And it's really easy to build stuff on it. And they have, they always talk about Africa and this and that market and blah, 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 and everything else. Well, I'll tell you what, TON has, when I get on these different X spaces and everything else, I was on another TON space last night. I should start talking on them. I'm just kind of listening at the moment. I talk a lot, though, you know what I mean? Whatever. And it's mostly kids, to be honest. But that's what you want to see, right? It's kids from like Africa. It's kids from Asia. It's kids. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that there's a lot of kids on there, because the kids, that's who, that's how we grow, right? Is we get the kids on there. So that's what I see with the TON ecosystem. That listing on Binance, I think, is going to play out in spades for them and for us. Of course, I'm long on TON as well. I am long on Dog or Flower. One of my favorites there. I talk about them all the time. And Dog or Flower is looking pretty nice too. So that actually really nice move today on Dogger Flower. I can talk more about that in a bit. Let's see here. I'm just going to post some links underneath my post on X here, just so everybody has them. Get yourself some Coin Vigilante watches, and all these other ones here. Oh, boom. Whoops. There we go. Also, Money 2020 is coming up. And as well, if you're in the DC area, we have another GBA event. The Government Blockchain Association event is coming up as well next week, I believe. So, all right. Let's see here. We have the Kamala and Trump are rallying the voters. They're both rallying the voters. I got to tell you guys, I know I've said it a couple of times before, that people are pretty happy. They're pretty happy with Kamala. I know it seems it seems like to a lot of the Republican voters are like, oh my God, Kamala this, Kamala that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. The Democrat voters are pretty happy with her. I talked to one of my neighbors yesterday, and he said, yeah, I wasn't even going to vote for Biden. He's like, but I'm pretty happy with Kamala. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. I think that they're both very polarizing figures, whether it's Trump, and I don't say it in a bad way, but whether it's Trump or whether it is, or whether it's Kamala. You know, Kamala gets on stage yesterday or the day before, and she talks about, you know, her and this guy who everybody hates. This guy, her VP, whatever his name is. Never heard of the guy really, and draft dodger or something, whatever he is. And everybody, you know, to gun this and gun that, and we're going to take the guns and we're going to do this and we're going to do good morning. And I mean, it was very radical. I told my neighbor, and he goes, well, that's not radical. I go, well, that's radical to me. And that'll get out the vote. That'll get out the Republican vote. And so you have two figures here right now that are running that are probably going to get out the vote for both sides. They're both going to get out the vote for both sides. That talk of, you know, gun control and everything else, that will absolutely get out the Republican vote. I mean, even if they're not already out, because I think they are already coming out. Youngkin in Virginia, right next door to me there in Virginia, has signed an executive order that's aimed at stopping illegals from voting. And so that's pretty interesting as well. You know, Virginia really turned blue for no good reason. Well, because they piled in all of these newcomers, and they put them strategically around the area in different places. I mean, you know, you have like, you know, certain places in Northern Virginia. I mean, it's so far Democrat. It's like crazy. You know what I mean? Like they win by like margins of 30 and 40%, 20, 30 and 40%. Now, a lot of that, are they all legal voters? I don't know. Are they? They may or may not be. I'm not sure. But apparently Governor Youngkin thought that it was a big enough deal that he was going to sign an executive order to try and stop it. So that's pretty interesting. So he signed that executive order yesterday. Ukraine offensive is gaining ground over there in Eastern Europe, in the Ukraine-Russia area there. They have taken some areas that previously Russia had taken back. And I think that they're kind of letting that play out. Of course, Putin has come in very strongly to back Iran. Maybe they feel like now is a good time to move that. It's also the summer. And summer, if you're going to fight a war over in Eastern Europe, summer's the time to do it, man. The winter is rough. It is rough over there. So that offensive is going well for them at the moment. The UK, as we warned, the UK is now arresting protesters. They're arresting social media posters and everything like that. And that's part of what I've said from the onset of these protests. And it's not that I against people protesting in general, but we want to protest against the right people. And you also don't want to, be burning places down and stuff like that. It's not that's not going to help your cause. And as well, poor people. Let's not have poor people fighting poor people. Let's have poor people protesting against the people that are actually in control and making the laws and everything else. So let's talk more about the markets. I got my main man here, Sir Matt the Great. Matt, how are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you, Bruce?
Oh, doing pretty good. It's funny. I will wake up a number of times during the evening or during the night, and I didn't wake up once. I just went to sleep. I woke up. I said, "Well, it must be like 1:30 or something." I said, "Oh, it's 5 a.m. All right, let's go. Let's go."
Always a bit worrying when you hear about. Well, I mean, that war is worrying no matter what. I mean, we both agree on that.
Yeah.
But obviously, we want it to be over. You hear of Ukraine gaining ground, and then you think, well, that's backing Putin into a corner. So it's all very. It's worrying no matter what.
It's like you get some news and you're like, okay, well, Iran kind of signals that they're not going to do anything, which I think, obviously is probably the right move. I mean, you hate to be the last one that takes the hit, but I mean, come on, guys. And then you have, but it's like in the same breath, you have what's going on over there in the Ukraine. Obviously, Putin's going to respond. I don't think that Ukraine's going to be able to hold that ground. And we're going to see more deaths. I mean, we're talking so many deaths. We don't talk about it that much because they don't really publicize the deaths over in the Eastern Europe. But it's like an astronomical number. I mean, these guys, they'll lose like thousands of men in a day. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. It's shocking. We don't hear about the number of deaths. But
yeah, it's like trench warfare. Like we're talking like World War II style, like horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. Anyway, onto the markets. I've shared my screen. I trust you can see that.
Yeah. Here we go. Looking at the DXY, the US dollar index.
The US dollar index, yeah. So we had news out of Japan. So obviously we had the news the other day. They raised interest rates by what seemed a small amount, but it's actually a massive amount, caused that big carry trade unwind. And it's a combination of that and a combination of the employment figures out of the US. So a bit of a perfect storm, only a couple of things coming together that were very negative for the market. Now, hopefully, we're out of that. We'll see. At the moment, the US dollar appears to certainly have bottomed, and it's pushing higher. Now, we had a perfect ABC on this push down here, where the C wave was 1.618 times the A wave. Times this first wave here. But it actually rested perfectly on the support line here, this supporting trend line here that I drew basically just from the touch points, pretty well from the touch points on below and above. And it's containing the price quite nicely at the moment. And longer term, I think we do need to perhaps zoom out a little bit to try and get some idea of what direction we're going to be heading. It looks as though we most likely break to the downside after this. So we'd probably complete a further push higher, then break to the downside. So maybe that's when they actually start to lower interest rates further when they start to raise lower rates and possibly even raise the spectre of further QE in the future. So at some point, I think dollar will fall, but it looks as though we're going to be on a steady rise, which is basically rewinding and building up that carry trade again. As we know, when there's a crash, we know that the Japanese yen will fall. I just wanted to touch on a couple of tokens that I featured on my X. So I'm just going to touch on X here. So one of them here, Avalanche, it actually got an upgrade from eBay, which all good. So what I do, I use the eBay tool to identify assets that may have been upgraded or downgraded. And I'll take a closer look because obviously there's thousands of assets out there. I can't look at them all. So I use eBay just to sort of fine tune and allow me to focus in on just a few that I can do some more in-depth DD on. So Avalanche, AVAX was upgraded. So I thought I'll take a closer look.
And Avalanche and they have a good ecosystem. This is a robust economy.
Yeah. Just looking there, the volume, I mean, trade volume was down a bit. Obviously, the markets were down And yet you can see here 24-hour trade was down, the volume was down 18%. The price was down 3% in 24 hours, 7 days down 18%. So it's all looking negative on the price perspective, but it's still got the upgrade from eBay, and there's reasons behind it. And it is an AI system that looks at a lot of different things, and it uses very complex computing to be able to work out these upgrades and downgrades. So anyway, Avalanche got the upgrade. So I think, right, I'm going to take a deeper dive into Avalanche. So I looked at the price history going back a few months, and I can see from the peak we had there back in March time, we basically had an ABC down. The C wave is just beyond 0.618 times the A wave down. So a fairly reasonable correction. But what I found more interesting was we got bullish divergence. And we know from a number of times we've looked at this, is one of the more accurate tools to identify or to indicate when an asset is going to change direction or even continue direction, depending on which kind of divergence it is. Now, when you get, this is regular bullish divergence. When you get regular bullish, it means a change of direction. And so we're expecting a change of direction from a declining price. We're expecting it to start to rise because we have regular bullish divergence. And that is basically when you get lower lows on the price and higher lows on RSI. And what's interesting here as well is we actually had oversold RSI below 30 here. So we get the regular bullish divergence, we get oversold RSI, and we get a nice ABC Elliott wave structure on the way down, falling to about 0.618. And if we looked at the percentage, the fib percentage of the overall move, I'm sure it would be an important number. So I'm expecting most likely a good move up. So from a risk reward perspective, it looks reasonable. I'd be interested in looking at this further now. So as I say, I used eBay to identify it. I'll then do further DD. It's one that I'm really interested in. As you say, it's a good ecosystem. It has good trade volume, and it looks, it's an amazing asset. So bear in mind, the thing that I just mentioned has good trade volume. So I will focus on another, actually, I'll just jump straight down to it at the moment. This is one Harmony, which I used to love this token. But I did say when it got to the top, I was saying it was a sell, and that was somewhere around the 40-cent mark a long time ago. We're now at 1 cent. We actually dipped to 0.8% over the weekend. But the interesting thing is every candle is the same. And what this tells me is one Harmony, it is still alive. It's almost on life support because there's very little actual trade volume. All this trade volume here, all these trades appear to be from automated market making. And so it moves with the markets. So wherever the markets go, it goes. So it's like just drifting in the wind with the markets. And it's actually using the automated market maker to put in trades, buy and sell trades to give it the trade volume. So at the moment, it's not one that'd be interesting, apart from maybe taking a small position in the hope that something fundamental will change, because they did have these problems. They had a major hack. A lot of money was stolen, and they've never recovered from that. And so if I were looking at this asset, it would just be a very small amount of capital that I can just forget about, completely forget. And maybe if it was such a great ecosystem at the time that if things were to be revived, then potentially, there's potential. So, but it's just, I wouldn't put much capital there at all. It's just one of those small ones you might just put a little bit away to forget, and maybe in a few years' time you might be surprised, or it might have all gone. You don't know. But
it's funny because that was one. I think we all did pretty well with that one a couple years ago.
Yeah, I traded it very actively, did really well with One Harmony. But just interesting, as I say, you can see every single candle is virtually the same size, and that's just very, very typical of automated market making. And there's very little real trade activity in there, but it still goes up and down in the markets because it's actually paired with other currencies, other cryptocurrencies. So whenever they move, it actually moves the One Harmony price as well. So that's why you're getting the up and down movement. So the one above, we did touch on, obviously we looked at Avalanche, and the other one I wanted to look at, just again, it's we didn't plan this, but this is Toncoin, and it got
Yeah,
another
Toncoin.
upgrade by eBay. So it's actually been bouncing around a little bit. Obviously, but it's really highly rated. I mean, a AA rating is next to the highest possible rating, and it's a relatively new token. It's got a massive supply, etc., but it's got tremendous prospects. So that AA rating, you can see it recently got upgraded to AA again. I thought, right, I'll take a closer look at this. So
I'll tell you. So they just got. I mean, like 4 hours ago, as I woke up, they just got Binance announced their listing, Ton.
yeah, and that probably has. I mean, it's amazing that we got the upgrade before that listing, before that listing announcement came out, and then look at it. It's done. I think it's 18%. We'll have a look at the actual charts in a minute. But when I looked at it, it's up 18%. So we had a great sell opportunity. Now, this is the opposite. We looked before at regular bullish. Now, this is hidden bearish divergence. So hidden bearish divergence, this tells you of a continuation of the downtrend. So we've got a downtrend from here to here, whilst RSI peaks were increasing. So basically, you got higher volume with lower prices, effectively. So that's telling you there's more downside to come, which is exactly what happened. I didn't look over the longer term, and I can't do it just on this chart. Maybe we'll look later. But I would imagine there's probably some long-term divergence here that would tell you of the move up. But that move up was amazing. And when we talk about amazing moves up, then of course we have to talk about XRP. So I'm just going to go on to the main charts.
XRP leads the recovery.
XRP. So where is XRP? Here we are with XRP. So yesterday it was up about 25, 30%, something like that. So remember we spoke about it yesterday and we said, okay, we've completed the W, in fact, going longer term back, the WXY correction looks like it's complete, and we've started to move to the upside quite nicely. So saying yesterday, it's looking really bullish because we had basically 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a correction down, or it could have even been 5 to here, then a correction down, ABC, expanded flat correction, and then moving up quite strongly. So we said yesterday, and again, I remember talking so much about these wicks here, said we had this long wick below, it tested below and failed. And I said, we can expect some good upside to come on XRP. And lo and behold, as so often happens, we say, we can tell it in the chart, and then sometime later, something comes to validate the chart reading that we gave out. So the charts were telling us we're expecting a pump in XRP. We came out in advance yesterday. We knew nothing about the SEC ruling, but the SEC came out with a lot more clarity about XRP. Yes, they got a fine, $135 million.
It's
which
like nothing. I mean, $135 million for Ripple, and they're not a security.
I mean, they're releasing $500 million of tokens every month, so it's it's less than it's a quarter. What is it? A third or something? Less than a third, a quarter or a third or something of the monthly token release. So that fine is, it means nothing to them really.
It means nothing to them. That's but and they're not a security, which is pretty crazy because I've talked about it before. I mean, I remember back in the day they were just selling the tokens on the website.
Yeah.
And it's great that they're not. It's great. But
yeah, so we had this big arrow in yesterday before yesterday's news, and we got this massive pump, 30% overnight, up a little bit today at 1.65%. There's bound to be a little bit of profit taking, but I still think the prospects are very, very bright for the time being, because I think this is a corrective move down, and I think we're just beginning an impulsive move to the upside. So I think it'll probably now be driven, be carried a bit by the markets as well.
Yeah,
I think we could be in for a good little run on the markets after all the bad news that we had. So just going back to, in fact, I probably won't go back to, but we had some really good buying the dip from the institutions. I probably will just jump back in. I was looking at a couple of the tweets there. I'm not sure whether I mentioned it, but basically we did have some good buying from the institutions here. So BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and Fidelity maintaining their long-term bullish outlook. And we saw proprietary trading desks accounting for 57% of the total buying flows of Bitcoin. So when you think about it, a year ago, we didn't have such a thing. We didn't have this institutional and proprietary trading, and we didn't really have this buying of BTC. But now we have institutional buying of BTC. So it has basically, it's underpinned by institutional buying. And obviously, I think when we get past all-time highs, which I still believe we will, I think maybe retailers might just begin to realize it is going somewhere. And I think the Bitcoin really could be going sky high. So if we get past that previous all-time high, then I think it could open the floodgates, and more institutions, more pension funds. We've said it all. There's more and more people coming into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin.
More and more people. I mean, it's still just a $1 trillion market cap, guys, is like on Bitcoin is like crazy low. $2 trillion market cap, a bit over maybe 2.2, whatever it is right now. Total crypto market cap is laughable. Yeah. It is early. It is early.
And we see this move down, the ABC move down. Actually, the C wave, we have to move that down here now. And just be interesting to see if I measured that A wave. I'll just measure it very quickly. The magnitude of the A wave probably to there. I have to relabel this all slightly, just see where the B wave goes. Okay, there's no particular fib extension there really that I can see. There isn't always. I was just interested to see if there was there. We got caught out here, but this is why I use risk reward, because I expected that we're going to push higher from here. You can see over the weekend we pushed seriously down, but this is what I say, when you get a support level, and I'll just open this out to show you exactly how your trade would have been. We had a support level at this level here, the bottom of that level there, and that level there. Now that's a support because that dipped down there. It means that price tested that level and was rejected and went higher. So I would expect that when price came down here, I expected price to push up from here, according to this arrow here. That clearly wasn't the case. So when I put a trade here, my stop loss would be quite close, because this was the risk here going below this level. So anything below this spike is basically where I'll be putting my stop loss, with the hope of a big move up. So my loss here would have been small. So we do occasionally take losses, but it's very important not to place your stop losses arbitrarily. Just say, oh, I'll do it 5% below, 10% below, whatever it might be. Put some reasoning behind it, some logic behind it. So here, as I say, price tested lower, it failed and pushed higher. So when it pushed back down, yes, I'll do a buy, but I'll put my stop loss just below this level here. And that's what I did. And clearly I took a small loss on this trade, but I avoided all this. Now we've moved down here. Again, I'm probably not looking, if I were to do a trade, my risk would be here, but at the moment I wouldn't be taking a trade on this right now. The markets are still a little bit uncertain short term. I know in general are looking positive, and we've got some really good moves overnight. Some of those really active coins, I mean, Toncoin is still up 11% even now. That's amazing. Some of the other big movers as well. I mean, Booker Memes up 7%. It's had a big move up yesterday. And what else is there? There's Jupiter Dex. That's up 8% today. So we've got some really good solid movers up today. All cryptos, virtually all cryptos are up. The one that we were looking at that caused the turmoil was the yen. We can see here the dollar against the yen, and this is the unwinding of the carry trade, looking as though it's rewinding a little bit. It's actually looking reasonably constructive. And as I think I said, I didn't say, but the Japanese central bank came out and said that this isn't going to be a concerted, ongoing set of rate rises. That was just a one-off. So that actually calmed the nerves of the markets. And so we saw some really good rebound on the market. So we look here at S&P, for example. We did get a nice little rebound, but again, there's still uncertainty. As I said, there's
still uncertainty. Like I said, Dow futures are down. You see recovery kind of all over the place, but man, it's tepid. It's tepid. It's just the geopolitical. Everything is just uncertain.
Yeah, I won't have confidence, as I say, until we exceed this dotted line here, because that would tell me that this is just an ABC down to here, and we're going to be pushing higher in an impulsive fashion. But until we do that, we can still go lower. So I would not be taking a trade right now. I wouldn't be trying to catch the falling knife. We don't know how low it's going to go. I am hopeful that we'll get a rebound, and I think there's some reasonable signs out there, but I would not take a trade at this level. If I were desperate to take a trade, my stop loss would be just below this spike here. And, you know, that's still a relatively big move, but yeah, my stop loss would be below that spike, this spike down here, just below there. So if I were desperate and really wanted to take a trade, you should never be desperate to take a trade. And that's actually one of the big problems that people have. They get addicted to trading. They want to take a trade no matter what, and they'll look to take a trade. But
over trading is like, that's like one of the, I mean, everyone's done it so much. Over trading.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest danger that retail traders face, because trading is actually the most important thing. They talk about fear and greed and so on. It's discipline, actually. And discipline is what controls fear and greed. And the discipline allows you to buy in when markets are crashing and tumbling, not to catch a falling knife, but to look for the right signs, maybe a Fibonacci extension, but manage your risk reward properly. It's all about discipline. You have to be disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you will wipe out at some point in time, no doubt whatsoever. You can be lucky 1 or 2 times, but you'll wipe out. So you have to be disciplined. Have yourself a set of rules, even if you write down those rules and always stick to them. And then you can actually monitor what happened, how successful you are, as long as you stuck to rules. And you can then modify those rules possibly in the future to try to improve. You can find out which rules didn't work for you, which rules didn't result in winning trades. So again, discipline, documentation, doing everything like a business. And it's not a game. You know, I hear people talking about they play cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, like it's just a game. It's serious money. It's actually a serious asset class now, particularly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I think Solana, you know, is very, very serious. Toncoin, there's a lot of serious assets out there now. And it's not a game. It's serious money, and serious money to be made, but also to be lost if you don't do it in the right way.
That's right. You can make a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money too. Absolutely. And actually, you're much more. You have traders trading against you, so you only 5% of people win their trades. So you need to be careful. You need to trade smart.
Yeah, the odds are definitely against you. Because they, you know, as we've said so many times, the market makers, the big institutions who are effectively, you're trading on their platform, they can actually see where your stop losses are, how much money you got, where your wipeout point is, etc., etc. So they definitely got an advantage over you. So you have to be very, very disciplined and understand what actually understand what they know about you. If you don't know what they know about you, then you've got a problem. But they do know exactly how much you've got and where your stop losses are placed. Looking at ICP. ICP has been a great one, and at the moment it's looking quite positive. But we do. I mean, again, if I was to do a trade here, my risk would be below this spike down here, below this level here. I can't see exactly where I measured it from, but I can see we went to a perfect extension here, 2.618. So potentially that could be the end of the move, or we could go lower. So if I was doing a trade, my stop loss would be just below this level here. And I'd have bought in around this spike here, potentially. Downside here of 1 unit, upside, even if I go to here, is 2 units. So it's a 2-to-1 risk reward. That's fair enough for me. As long as you're minimum 2-to-1 risk reward, and the likelihood is that the markets will probably go up, but if they go down, you lose 1 unit. So 2-to-1 risk reward, you need to win half as many trades as you lose just to break even. So hopefully you'll do better than that. Solana's been a really good one. Again, we've had what I think, and I mentioned this yesterday, that we had a very nice ABC move to the downside. And what I was saying yesterday was that the wave 3, if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal, it actually can't be the case with Solana, because this wave 3 is shorter than wave 1 and wave 5. So it can't be a leading diagonal. So as far as I'm concerned, it's an ABC. And so that's why I expected from this spike to get a good solid movement higher. And I actually said I was talking to people at the time when it hit 110. I said that's the time to buy, and it exactly was. Just over 110, and it's moved up really nicely. We're 153 right now. So in percentage terms, 43 out of 110. I mean, you're more than 30% higher in a couple of days. I mean, if you bought in Monday, today's Thursday, so 3 days.
You're pretty happy.
30% in 3 days. You're going to be very happy. And this is one that I'd be basically looking to protect my trade. I'm holding Solana, but protect your trade. If you got in at those nice levels, protect some of that profit, because if you're wrong, and you can always be wrong. Anybody can be wrong. At least you're guaranteed a profit if you got your stop loss now moved up into a profit position. If price were to go south, then you get a profit no matter what. But if it continues higher, and the expectation is that this being an ABC, the expectation is we're going to exceed this start of this A wave here, which was 209. So we're 153 now. So still in percentage terms, you're talking another 30% higher, more than 30% higher, if we get to 209. And it should go beyond 209. So if this is ABC, we should go beyond 209. So already 30% up in 3 days, but a further 30% minimum to exceed that level. So that's very, very big potential gains just from getting into this trade and now protecting it. So it's risk-free trade, which is amazing. They're exactly what you want. Gold is still chopping around. It's not really gone anywhere. It's that stable asset that
so stable through this whole thing.
Yeah, again, potentially we may be pushing down a little bit further at some point. But as I say, I've said for a long time, I think we're heading to new all-time highs on gold. So definitely should be part of any well-balanced portfolio, because it's a non-correlated asset. Definitely one I'd be very interested in. I saw an upgrade as well, I think, on Litecoin. It's one that's been hanging around in the doldrums a little bit. But we know Litecoin, when it does move, it can move quite aggressively. We appear to have had, and again, like that other asset, the C wave did lower than I expected. But I'm not quite sure why I've got the support in here, but I had a support line drawn in here. We didn't quite reach that support. So from this level, we got the spike down, which means, again, price tested lower. It failed to go lower and actually pushed back up again. So we found buyers. When price dipped down, we found buyers very rapidly. This is a daily candle. So within that same day, we had sellers, but the buyers came in and bought it back up quickly. And that's how you get this spike down. And it basically means that price failed to push down. It's actually pushed higher. And it looks as though we're potentially going to be heading quite a bit higher. So tentatively.
What are we currently at right now with Litecoin?
Litecoin, we're at $58.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at it at 55. I was like, oh, wow. Going in recovery. I mean, it was at $100. I guess a lot of the assets are like that. But anyway, looking pretty nice.
What was very interesting, I think, just I'll finish up because I guess you've probably got a lot to do still on the show. But this triangle here was telling me a triangle, remember, is a pre-terminal wave. So WXY. So following that, so after a pre-terminal wave, you have a terminal wave. And the terminal wave was the Y wave, which actually is made up of ABC. And that's precisely what it was. So I knew from that point we were going to get a substantial turn lower, which is exactly what happened. And again, I'm sure we can find divergences. In fact, I can see one straight away here, basically between here and here. So there was clear divergence. I'll just draw that in very quickly just so you can see what I'm talking about. So we can see higher highs on price. I'm just drawing this in very roughly. And correspondingly, somewhere around there, just down there, about there anyway. It's actually just fractionally lower. No, actually it's not fractionally, it's quite a bit lower. So it's nice. So we got really good regular bearish divergence here. So we've got higher peaks on the price and lower peaks on the corresponding RSI. You can see they have to be corresponding. That's precisely what it was. So we got after this move here. So it's fantastic. We had a triangle pre-terminal. We then get the terminal wave and it's WX. So we knew Y was going to be made up of an ABC move. And then following that Y wave, we got the regular bearish divergence telling you this is the sell point. We knew there was going to be a sell because of this terminal wave here. This was terminal. It has to be according to the rules of Elliott wave. And we got the bearish divergence. So it's beautiful sell opportunity, which we've seen. And now I think I need to look at this more closely to look. I think we'll probably find some divergences and some interesting opportunities. So looking good. So overall, as I say, we've got a really good, nice green day in the markets. The only reds we can see there are dollar index, oil slightly down, but the crypto is generally looking really green and positive to the upside. As we said, time to buy in was Monday, and time to protect is now, and hopefully hold those positions for greater gains to come. So that's it for today. Hope it's helpful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matt. Always insightful and helpful. It's
fantastic.
We're all holding our breath.
Yeah, pleasure to share, and I hope you've all gained something from it, because we have had some amazing gains. Things that we featured on the show have been, you know, though we say it ourselves, been pretty spot on in terms of calling the markets both up and down, and some great opportunities to be had there. So thanks again. Look forward to catching up tomorrow.
Amazing. Cheers. Well, there you have it, folks. The great Matt Dixon with the market report there. Some nice scrumptious moves. If you hopped in there on those dips, you've done quite well, man. I'll tell you what, $49,000 Bitcoin. If we go up from here, you're going to be remembering that, man. 49,000. It hit 40. Remember, it hit 49,000 before it jumped up to 100. You know, that's the way it works. But still looking pretty nice. But again, you know what he talks about, and what Matt talks about a lot, and this is trading strategy. This is how you professionally trade. This is one of the reasons why we do the show. One of the reasons why we talk about this stuff is because you don't just jump into the market. You want to wait until you have confirmation of different moves. Even though something could look very, very scrumptious, very, very nice, you could just go in there and be catching a falling knife, unless you just want to put some dollars in there and kind of walk away and watch it or whatever, or it's just a gamble. Just understand that it's a gamble. If you want to trade and make money on a consistent basis, you want to follow these signals, and we talk about it. We talk about it every day, and you can see how we draw it in there. Draw the lines. Okay, here's the support. Here's where we want confirmation. So once it passes here, we have a confirmation that this is this type of wave or it's that type of wave. And then we can, with reasonable expectancy, say, okay, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. And that's how you trade and win. So hopefully you guys are watching and following along. Maybe we'll make some trades. I am working on getting some stuff together where more people can participate. So that'll be a lot of fun. We do have even while we are, let's see here, even while we're talking, Dow futures have moved up considerably. It looks like they're pushing forward for a green opening. We'll see. Bitcoin has had a move at 57,380. It's sitting at right now. Let me just kind of toggle around here. Sometimes even as the show, this hour that we do the show, it's one of the reasons why I like doing the show at this hour, because it's a very important time of the day to do stuff. So people wake up, people like myself, people that are trading and whatnot here on the East Coast, they wake up 5, 6 a.m. and they'll decide what they're going to do. They're going to go long, they're going to go short, all these types of things. Until yesterday, I hadn't heard about the attempt on assassination on Putin in the same month as Trump. I know, and it's crazy, right? Yeah, they don't want you to hear about that, because obviously anybody that's critically thinking will be like, Hold on a second. They tried to assassinate Trump and Putin within 15 days of each other. Like I said yesterday, who ordered the assassinations? Who ordered the assassinations? You have an attempt of assassination on the largest political figure in America. I'm talking the Americas and you have the assassination attempt on the largest political figure in Europa in the same month. Obviously, if you're critically thinking, you would say that was coordinated and that was from the same people. An assassination attempt on somebody like that, you're not talking about a couple of guys just decide to do it. Like that, an order like that comes from the top. Yeah. An order like that comes from the top. And even if they're using something like MK Ultra, and it's nice now that I can even talk about MK Ultra, and people they might go a little bit, but it's true, right? It's true. The CIA has a program. It's called MK Ultra. They have lots of other ones too. It's a mind control program. And actually, I'm going to have Cyrus on again on the show. It's super interesting. I want to get my third eye going. He talked about remote viewing and everything like that. A pretty interesting guy. I want to raise money for his movie as long as he puts me in there. Not a coincidence. You can't locate it on the internet. How about that? At least I couldn't find anything at all. They're going after leaders globally. Scary. It's absolutely correct. And during that time as well, they assassinated a bunch of other people that maybe weren't as high profile, but that is what do they call it? Modus operandi. That's how they're operating right now. Is they're just assassinating people, and that's one of the reasons why people are scared. They're scared, and really, I don't know who's behind it, but I always say in the Fed, these are the guys in charge. The central banking cartel is in charge. Are they the ones that ordered the hit? John F. Kennedy, before he was assassinated, he won. He won, of course, was going against the central banking cartel with the money. He was printing up silver-backed dollars that were from the Treasury, not from the Federal Reserve. And two, he made AZC, which was the American Zionist Council, register as foreign agents. Hungary just did the same thing. They made them and all NGOs that are funded by different countries. If you're funded by another country and you're lobbying in the United States or in another country, you should, I think we can all agree, you should have to register, and we should know where that money's coming from. So after he and the Fed, the central banking cartel and AZC, they're all, they're all Israeli. You guys know that, I'm sure, right? They're all Israeli, central banking cartel. So after John F. Kennedy made the American Zionist Foundation register as foreign agents, he was assassinated. And then they just continued as their subsidy, AIPAC, and they never registered again. So they did register. The AZZ did register, but then they just, once he was assassinated, continued operating under AIPAC, and they never registered again. And all that is history. Anybody can look it up while they still haven't erased it. And then AIPAC is, fast forward to today, and AIPAC basically has bought off every representative that we have. This guy right here, he told us. It's funny on this thing. I have to point the other way. So for me, I'm pointing right now to him, but I have to point this way. So it's a little. This guy told us everybody has an AIPAC guy. So look, I'm as easy as the next guy. I love everybody. Okay, I do. I love everybody. I don't think anybody's inherently evil. Well, I guess some people are evil. I don't think groups of people are inherently evil. I think even if one group of people wants to be better than the other group of people, that's fine too. It's fine for me. I say it every day. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to trust each other. It's fine. Let's just stop killing each other. Let's just stop killing each other. And if we stop killing each other, then we're going to start working together. And things are going to be okay. They're going to be okay. They're going to be all right. Ending life is the wrong way. It doesn't matter what religion you're in. That's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. Life is beautiful. Life is wonderful. You have to protect it. And it's not easy to come out and talk about the reality of the situation that's going on. Trust me. But it is, and it's important that we talk about it. Let's see, what else do I have here? I have a bunch else. I'm going to play my friend Dr. Melnick here in a second here. The UK is arresting protesters. I mean, guys, I'm going to talk about it again. I mean, this is serious stuff. The problem is that when you have something that's going on, you have to understand. So everyone says it's end times, and I'm going to address this. But it's not end times. They want it to be end times. That's why. And everybody doesn't understand. People don't understand. They want it to be end times because that's when their Messiah comes. The one who replaces your Messiah or Jesus if you're Christian. They want it to be the end times, but it's not the end times. It's not the end times. They're trying to fulfill the prophecy. But it's not going to work because it's not end times. We have a lot of time to go. We're going to travel the stars. Speaking of that, speaking of traveling the stars, there is a gentleman that came up with a spaceship that can travel faster than the speed of light. And you go, wait a minute. How can it do that? That's supposed to be a law. Interstellar. I'm going to let this guy explain it because he does it better than me. Let me pull it up here on my thing. The way he did it. Yeah. I'm gonna put it up here right here. The way he did it was by moving the space around the ship. The ship doesn't actually move. He moves the space around it. This is really interesting. I'm going to play it for you. It's just real quick clip. We're going to travel the stars, guys. It's not end times. We have a lot of time to go.
Is it possible to build a ship that could break the cosmic speed limit? A mathematical physicist, Miguel Alcubierre of Mexico, inspired by the original Star Trek television series, conceived the calculations for a ship that could theoretically travel faster than the speed of light. If successful, it could cut the travel time between our sun and this distant star system down to a single year, or even less. But wait a minute. Isn't it a cardinal rule of science that thou shalt not travel faster than light? It is. But here's the thing about the Alcubierre drive. It doesn't move. The cosmos does. The ship itself would be enclosed in its own space-time bubble, where it needn't violate any laws of physics. Harold White of the United States ironed out some of the kinks, such as prohibitively enormous energy requirements to fly it. But it remains far beyond our immediate grasp. The Alcubierre drive ship is a gravitational wave-making machine that compresses the ocean of space-time in front of it and expands that ocean in its wake. Jet skis for joyriding through the galaxy and beyond. An advanced version of our Alcubierre drive could do 600 trillion miles in the blink of an eye.
I'll tell you what, guys, that's the coolest stuff to me. I don't know if I'm still a kid or whatever. When I was a kid, I used to dream about traveling space and all this place. That's what it's all about. We're not supposed to stay on this earth and just fight each other. Let's go to the stars. Are we really made in the image of God? Like, you see the aliens. The aliens are always, ugly looking things. Are we really the most beautiful ones and everything else are these ugly creatures? Think about that. Think about that if that's true. So, okay, we can pretty much get our head around there's got to be life, right? And I don't think we're the most beautiful ones, to be totally honest, right? I don't. I think we're good looking, but hey, right? I'm human. But maybe we are. What if we are? What if we are the most beautiful creatures in the entire universe? What if we're the ones that are supposed to settle the universe? Let's get that end time stuff out of your head. We have a lot. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to do. So much to do. While I'm going on, before I play Stephen Melnick, I want to talk about my good friends, Polka Gold. Polka Gold! I love the Polka Gold. You know, I love the Polka Gold, one, because they have such a great community. They have such a great community, and they're backed. The liquidity's all locked. So you have Polka Gold, and you have Dalgo, which is their meme coin, right? You got the Polka Gold, and you got the Dalgo. And these things, oh man, it would be a nice, it's probably a nice moment to take your position. Polka Gold. I did take a bigger position on this dip. I did. Okay, I did it. I'm very bullish on these assets. I really am. Polka Gold .tech. I'm just going to actually go to their Twitter. Polka Gold. So if we are in the recovery portion here and we're going to push up, understand that these assets, Polka Gold and Algo, they're backed by, they have the liquidity locked in here. I'm going to go ahead and repost this again. They're doing a different vote on different things. So what they did was I talk about it every day, the dot whales and the let's go to Dalgo. The dot whales and those polka dot whales and the Algorand whales put this together. Okay, this is the meme coin. I love the meme coin. The meme coin right now at like a couple $100,000 market cap. I mean, this is like this thing can go. It will more than likely be the Dalgo. It will more than likely be it is right now the meme coin on the Algorand network. Fun. And this is like the advertising branch of Polka Gold. So you want a little bit of both. It's on Algorand. I am going to post how to buy it. I'll post how to buy it. That's the one right there. Now, as well, I want to talk about our good friends over here at Coin Vigilante. Coin Vigilante watches. Amazing American-made timepieces. Beautiful timepieces. Make sure you use code Impact Money. Impact Money, get yourself a 10% discount on these watches. Coin Vigilante watches. Go to coinvigilante.com. Inspired by the Bitcoin monetary revolution. Coinvigilante.com. And right up here before I cue in my main man, Stephen Melnick, Tangem. Get yourself a Tangem wallet. Don't be caught with your pants down and get your crypto stolen. It's happened to the best of us, guys. Don't be that guy. Okay? Don't be that guy. Don't let that happen to you. Go to tangem.com, use code IMPACTMONEY, get yourself some. Now, I have my friend Stephen Melnick, a very good friend of mine with Lives Amplified. I'm going to play this interview that we had yesterday. Very interesting interview. Go to the website, use code IMPACTMONEY to register, or contact me. Let's get you in here. Let's raise some money. There's a lot of stuff we can do here. This is Stephen Melnick. And we are back. I have a very special guest with me today, longtime friend. I know I've been teasing it now for a few days on the Impact Money Show. A good friend of mine, man, I have a lot of respect for, Stephen Melnick. Stephen Melnick is he is a diplomat. He's a world leader. He's a businessman. He's a family man. He's all of those things. I'll let him introduce himself a bit more. But we met years ago in Washington, D.C., and have been both doing very special things as we move forward. Stephen Melnick, Dr. Stephen Melnick, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
Oh, fantastic, Bruce. It's always a treat to see you, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, it was really an amazing moment when you reached out to me the other day. And I know, we've gone back and forth over the years. Life happens. I'm on one side of the world. You're on one side of the world, like ships in the night as we go, right? But you reached out and you have put together this, with help, I see, this Lives Amplified program, livesamplified.org. And it's super special. And this is a brand that you've been working with for a long time, right? Lives Amplified. So tell me a little bit, first of all, about what brought you to this point, and then a little bit more about Lives Amplified.
Sure. Well, just minor correction, but it's a major in my mind. This is not something that I put together. I mean, something like that on the global scale, of course, it requires a lot of people, and there's been a group that's been working together for quite some time, which we could talk about in a bit. But it is amazing, and the whole concept of elevating humanity, amplifying lives. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what gives all of us sustainable happiness, right? I mean, we satisfy our own needs, but then the mind always needs something else. But when we kind of take care of others, that's very sustainable. And so it's been a theme of my life for quite some time. And you're correct. And even when we met originally in Washington, D.C., that has been the theme as well. And so we kind of continue in that direction. And but as we all evolve, and as the world evolves around us, of course, what and how we do follows. So this is yet another element and another chapter in the evolution of trying to create a platform where we're all are able to come in and do what we do, but on a kind of higher impact level. In terms of how I got to it, I mean, we had, I remember originally when we met, we had kind of a very interesting conversation in this regard. But I'm originally from Ukraine. I came as a refugee over 30 years ago, and so the concept of working with people who come from nothing and want to get somewhere, it's not a theoretical conversation in my life. And yeah, and it's been an amazing ride. I'm grateful to this country. I got education here. I worked with the world's largest consulting firm and focused on capital markets, and did my stint, as they said, and it was quite uniquely successful. And the firm sponsored me to all these executive degree programs, actually, the first time in the history of this world's largest firm, which was really humbling and honoring experience. And I served as an advisor to one of the subgroups of U.S. Treasury Department when I led this initiative in my firm for kind of dealing with financial crimes and other things. And then ultimately I decided, this was nice, and it's time kind of for semi-retirement, although it was rather early age. And I wanted to give back, so I went back to academia to give back to the school where, I kind of started this whole journey once I immigrated to this wonderful country. And I've been there for over 25 years, as this is the largest business school in the United States. And I'm honored and proud to be there as a tenured professor, programs director, which I actually helped build.
Now, wait, what university is that?
It's part of City University of New York. Yeah,
Okay.
So it's out of New York City. Yeah, so it's been a real treat, and it's been real blessing. And I served in many capacities to give back in any way and every way I can, including as a regulator, as a chair of, or also member of executive committee of AICPA that regulates CPAs and personal financial planning professionals, U.S., Canada, and kind of many other roles, and founded actually a bar association for attorneys, first from Eastern Europe, and then it became national. So that was a real treat. And was coming up for tenure, was asked to write a book, which did really well and became bestseller in multiple categories. So it's been a long journey, and ultimately what got me to do what I do around the world is really my students, frankly speaking. After the first class of each semester, there would always be a few students who would come to me and say something along the lines of, Professor Malik, we appreciate you teaching law and business and all that other stuff, but we Googled you and you came here just like just like we did, with nothing, as an immigrant, and just teach us how to be successful. I mean, you've done this on Wall Street and academia, and I had my own TV radio show sometime in the community and other things, and bar association and publication. Like, how does it happen? And I never had a good answer to them, and ultimately, it translated into something that I ended up calling counterintuitive intelligence, basically, and taught it around the world, as you may remember. We met actually in a few places around the world when I was giving these talks, and ended up coaching some of the Fortune 500 executives, and then ended up, as an advisor to a few presidents, prime ministers, and as they say, the rest is history. And then I was asked to participate in global leaders forums, and my co-director, ran Davos Events World Economic Forum for many, many years, Dr. Richter. And so it's been also a blessing. So we've been putting together heads of states and help promote countries and bring opportunities into the countries into the world. And it's I thank God every day I wake up. It's a blessing to be able to do these things and meet amazing people like yourself who do incredible work, by the way. Compliments to you on your programming. I have been watching, and it's wonderful. People need information, and the more the better.
Well, I appreciate it. I think one of the things that you do so well, and I see it as a theme, even if you look at world leaders, is you connect. You connect with the world leaders. You connect with the workers. You are able to connect, and maybe part of that comes from being a refugee, right? And then coming up through, and then as a tenured professor, as you say, I mean, it's a heck of a journey, right? Anybody would be proud of it. And then continuing to help more people, and that's that's something else. That's I won't name someone's names at the moment, but when you look at some of these successful politicians, when you look at some of these successful people in the world, that's what they're able to do. They're able to connect. People feel like they relate to them, even if they don't have anything in common with them, right? In a way, like they have way more money than them. They have connections that they don't have, but they're able to connect with those people. And you've done that very well over the years. My compliments on that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's always nice and beneficial to have been there and have done that, right? And so whoever we engage with, especially if you really want to have an impact, you have to work with masses, right? But you have to understand the pain and suffering people go through. And I mean, my first shopping in the United States for furniture happened in Brooklyn, in Ocean Parkway, and and it was every Monday, by the way, because that's when people would put out furniture they wanted to throw out, literally. And that was our furniture. That's how we started. And my first job when I came to this country, I literally cleaned bathrooms with my mother as a first job, speaking no English. I sat through, business school with a dictionary, and I would record every lecture. I would come home, translate every word, or practically every word, because we came here no English at all. I mean, I knew 5 usual staple words. So, but it's been a blessing, and one thing I've learned, in this country, and I thank God every day I wake up. I thank God my kids were born here. Sometimes I still have dreams of living, in former Soviet Union. And I wake up like, okay, was this all a dream? So I understand what people are going through. I've gone through it, and I know also what it takes, and I know what the opportunities are. And so when I, see and hear, I kind of process it from my personal experience, and I understand, and that helps, because sometimes also, you could get very much disconnected from reality. So I could see this in many different levels. I see it in academia. I mean, some of the colleagues, are so esoteric and so numbers driven. Sometimes they just live in the world that doesn't exist in reality. And there's beautiful papers get published that nobody even reads, but there's something to hang. And if you want to have impact, nobody cares about, what your interest is. The point is what's the pain point? And what can you do to solve that and contribute to elevating humanity, if that's the scale, or on the most basic level. I mean, we started the society with with the concept of doing just that, elevating humanity. But a lot of people want to save the world, but their own house is a mess, and so our approach in informing it, society with many people is look, you got to take care of your home. I mean, there's a reason why when you get on the airplane, they say, put a mask on yourself before you take care of your children and others. And it's not because they don't matter. It's just that if you cannot take care of yourself, you cannot help anybody else. So we kind of, there's an expression in few religions, you got to keep your head up in the sky, with God and bigger things, but your feet have to be firmly planted in the ground. And that's how I try to walk and talk and do, and try to kind of encourage others to do the same.
So there was a point in your career, and I may have been witness to some of those. I have been witness to some of them now, where it kind of took the turn, or where it developed is an interesting question to me, or to hear your answer to. But there was a certain point when you went from helping businesses, working with different corporations, to actually working with heads of state, working with world leaders, working with people who were trying to make their own countries. What happened at that point? And if you could describe maybe your thought process that was going on at that point.
The question about transitioning, is that the question?
Yes.
What, I started, when I started on Wall Street, and I became a CPA, and then the firm sponsored me to executive degree in law, so I got my doctorate, postdoctorate. So I've done, I ran a firm that was practicing nationally, bearing my name, and it was always cool. But I would always ask a question to myself every now and then: am I doing what I should do? Like I try not to go on autopilot ever. I actually been talking. My youngest son's friends flew in, and they were visiting us, and they were asking me questions, and one of the questions was like, what do you think? What do you think the formula? What do you think like you've done really right? And they expected me to talk about certain direction, profession, this business, and the reality is what really worked for me is not to ever to go on autopilot, no matter how successful it is, no matter how good it is. And I've been blessed. Anything I've been involved in kind of tend to work well. And usually that sucks you in, and you just get kind of complacent, and you continue to develop. If it works, especially, why not? And with me, it was never the case, and the same with the personal level, by the way, with my wife. So I would always stop, every now and then, and say, okay, am I doing what I should be doing? And where I should be doing. The same with personal life. Are we doing the right thing? Should we have another kid? Are the kids doing the right thing? Should we get them involved in something else? Should we drastically change where we live? Because I always I cannot kind of deal with complacency, so to speak, no matter on what level it is. And so this question, and ultimately, like Maslow theory, right? When you take care of your basic needs and food, shelter, clothing, you always think about, okay, what bigger thing, what self-actualization is element of it is missing, and what impact can we have? And so what's really kind of been driving me and guiding me is, am I using the time that I have in this world, and my energy and my health, right? Because everything's interconnected, in a way that maximizes the impact and results. And so that was the question I kept always asking myself. Again, personal, business, family, and our kids at some point would laugh, actually, because we would go away with my wife once in a while, just a couple of days. And then as we have fun, we always talk about, and we sometimes come back, okay, well, guys, we're moving.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly how it was. But it also, you need kind of to come out from your normal routine, because the mind is so wound up. So sometimes you don't think clearly, right? That's why, it's good to pause, or just to relax, take a few days before you make some, major decisions. So anyway, to answer your question, Bruce, is it was always about, am I doing where, I generate the biggest impact? And this was kind of a natural progression, small business, medium, okay, helping transform businesses nationally, locally, around the world. And then, well, what else comes. And ultimately, I was blessed while helping businesses. Some of them asked me to engage with some governments and kind of negotiate and things. And that's when some governments noticed me. And that's how, it was all natural progression, basically. The beauty of this life is if you put out, the right, good things, right, and right energy, and you also set your mind in certain direction, things kind of evolve, and it's been naturally evolving process for me. And you're right, one of the many blessings that I've had is also, ultimately to move from kind of having an impact on local, national business, individuals, some families, right, that wanted me to help them represent their interests. Sometimes, some people don't want to stay in the back and have somebody handle things. But also beyond that, on the kind of country level. And you're right. Also, one thing that kind of came into my world is also help kind of develop countries and even create countries. And that's one of the big focus areas for me now as well. And this is where society also gets involved, because, there's a lot of tools in the box that society has to help countries develop. And we do that. And we this is very exciting path.
It is. It's a very exciting path. And, for a lot of people will watch this. You'll watch it on your TV, maybe in Texas or Louisiana, or you'll watch it streaming around the world. It'll probably get replayed, so people all over the world will watch it. But if you haven't traveled around the world, it a lot of times you don't realize that there's new things happening all the time. And that, there are new countries that are being birthed, and there are these new relationships and ended, right? I mean, unfortunately or fortunately. So I always thought that was very interesting. And then if you fast forward, you talk about the evolution of things into this now Lives Amplified that you have right now. You have multiple former heads of state on here. I'm sure that you have heads of state that are involved. Like you said, you can't list those ones on there. They can't have those affiliations. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about Lives Amplified and how the value add for people that may be watching.
Yeah, well, I'll start at the end, and then we'll move backwards. But in terms of value add, Lives Amplified has 3 major focus areas and categories. We do want to impact the world and improve lives of people around the world, well-being of humanity, and that's kind of one focus area. And it sounds crazy when people have these conversations, and people who talk about trying to change lives and impact. The crazy people usually end up doing it. I believe Steve Jobs said it at some point, right? So it's been a treat in that regard, and that's kind of one direction. Another direction is, and then along that way to help those who try to do that and give them the platform. Another element is business, right? I mean, I come from former Soviet Union, so I know, the nonprofit is very important. Kind of the social element of it's critical, but as long as somebody is there to pay the bill, that's another, massive person of this life, Margaret Thatcher, who said that, it's all good as long as there is somebody paying bills, something like that. So there's a big focus on access, connections, networking, and everything else. And the third element is, which is as important, to be honest with you, is just personal fulfillment and life and joy. We don't believe in taking life too seriously, because otherwise it gets shorter than it already is. So with every engagement, with every event, we have some very, very special experiences, and our guests and members have an amazing time. And so, and one thing to understand also, now I kind of, so that's kind of the value, so to speak. And there's a lot under each element. And you are correct. It's amazing group. If you look at, the board, we do have, I believe it's the largest gathering of heads of states outside of the United Nations in the business setting. And you are correct. We have current and former heads of states on the board and involved with the society, and we even future, like somebody you're showing now, by the way, President Tuto from Bolivia. He served as a president, amazing gentleman, and he recently announced that he's going to run again, and we're quite sure he's going to win again. So we try not to keep, and we don't keep on the board current heads of states, because that has not certain consequences. So if he does win, he's going to have to step out and do his tenure, and then as others then come back. But we do have also people who are senior government dignitaries who are involved with the society, and members of the society, and honorary members of the society, including ambassadors, including consul generals, current, representing many countries from around the world. And some of them, you could find on the website, and of course there are many others. And so, and the whole thing, it has always been kind of a private network, as it's usually the case. And the groups, and in different shapes and forms, been doing a lot of amazing work in humanitarian format, in business around the world. And of course, some names are more recognizable than others. And we have representation from all across the world. I mean, there's Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, right? So, which is critical and important. And so, and over the years, people have been learning and wanting to be involved. And it's a quite recent phenomena. The decision was made very, very recently to formalize kind of the engagement organization. And this is the counterintuitive part, to have a bigger impact on the world, to really, step back for the group and serve more as a platform that enables great people with great hearts, first and foremost, and minds, to get to the next level and to accomplish their goals, and thus to have a bigger impact in the world, right? Because again, it's all about, how can we have the bigger impact with the limited time and whatever else that we have. And so as a result of that, two entities were created. One is Lives Amplified Foundation, and that's NGO, nonprofit. This is where nonprofit related matters, and we help develop policies. We work with organizations around the world, and academic institutions, its leaders, etc., and of course, get involved with events, spending around the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, etc. And then the other entity is a business entity that does a lot of financing for nonprofit arm and generates cash flows for that, and that's Global Leaders Society, called Lives Amplified. And this is where we put together amazing events, and the focus there, as I said, is just to help our members get to the next level, and whether it's on the personal, professional, business, and that's done basically through providing unique access and connections. You're absolutely correct. And so we do that kind of in three main ways. One is we've been putting together very elegant, beautiful events in all, most famous and recognized places. And it's always high caliber networking, and we always have some of the largest family offices of the world, venture capital, hedge funds, executives of multinationals. But the idea was not to make it stuffy, So we do have professionals, we do have startups who are trying to get to that next level. And this was a big focus, because everyone, whether you're a startup or multi-billionaire, everybody wants kind of something next, right? So, and every single event, we've had a president or prime minister of a country as a special guest of honor. And it's not the situation the way you usually find. If you come to an event where a president speaks, they give a speech and then they kind of bolt out. So, because these are all members of the society too, so they always hang out and answer questions and form relationships, take pictures. There's a lot of videos and on the website, so people could see.
Yeah, I might play one once you're done here. I'm gonna.
Yeah. So and we always have special experiences. So in one event, let's say if we do, I believe in April we met in Argentinian waterfront steakhouse. So it was a beautiful venue. So we had Argentinian tango show, and time before, we had fire show with Black Red Caviar experience. And last event we did in Miami was South Beach, South Beach was an amazing venue. And so we had award-winning band, and Drew Estates came in as a sponsor for fine cigars, and we had some amazing spirits there. So it's always, it's always kind of to amplify both on personal and business level, and relationships, of course. It's amazing networking. The second focus is business, so in the deal flow. So because of the nature of society, its members, boards, strategic partners, anything on the local, national level, goods, services, capital raising, commodities, strategic partnership, all the way to global level opportunities, access to new markets, people interested in government contracts, and of course everything in between. And the third area, and this is the most interesting, Bruce, there are plenty of places with some networking and even quality networking. And yes, it's amazing. It's unique access connections and all that stuff. But what makes it even more different and unique, I would say, and I would even say uniquely powerful, is that when members join, they don't need to walk the march of how things operate. They could create completely custom experiences for themselves, what they want, and they do that utilizing the magnet that society is. Because you put on one side people who run countries, right? Presidents, prime ministers, and other dignitaries. The other side's the capital of the world. Of course, one cannot live without the other, but together they attract everybody else. So our members use that, because you can't just get into the society, you have to be invited, and our members get tickets, and they could invite their potential partners, strategic partners, clients, etc. And of course, there are plenty of events, but people recognize that this is very unique and different. You just have to look on the website quickly, and you quickly get the idea. So we've been packed from day one, and that's been a wonderful blessing. And we created leadership opportunities, so people could serve as position of chair or council. Council is usually their focus area, their business or nonprofit. There's opportunity for that, and that many people, by the way, live all over the world and never even come to the events, but they become members. I think there are three main reasons. One is it's highly prestigious. Not everybody gets approved, of course, on the society level, and you enter this exclusive environment, and some people, it's their biggest item on their resume that they kind of showcase, even if they served in major capacities in the government or private enterprises. Another one, that people could participate in the business and deal flow without ever coming to events. There's separate membership for that. And the third is, and that's very interesting, some of our members actually taking a lead to create events in their countries, towns, and they use the society as a magnet to attract exactly whom they want to do business with, right? Potential clients, again, parties, and we support it, and we're flying global leadership to kind of magnify their impact, and it works in amazing ways. Just to give you one of the latest examples, one of our members in the society, just recently, a few years ago, entered into real estate arena in South Florida, and was, really wanted to connect with the biggest players. And, these things usually take 5, 10, 15 years if you get lucky, right? The biggest developers. And, she became a member, and instead of reaching out as, hi, my name is this and this, so I'm a member of Lives Amplified, and we're going to be putting an event together on real estate development. We had the biggest builders, the biggest developers, some of the biggest players in financing investments, government representative, and also from global, smart city development, and all these people. I mean, they were grateful to the member, because it should create opportunity for them to participate. Wonderful lady, her name is Isha, and it worked for everybody, and it worked for other members. So this is, that's the idea, to serve as a platform for people to take advantage of it, right? And those who are motivated, who are energized, this is the uniquely powerful tool. And one thing that, and something that I should probably address, people may think, oh my goodness, I could never become part of it, I could never afford this. And this is, we walk the talk in terms of accessibility. So we subsidize memberships heavily. Those of you who are familiar with private organizations, including Tiger 21s of the world, you don't have to pay 80, 100, 150,000 a year to have access to the events. It's actually, like, on the personal level, the membership starts from 3,500, and you have access to all our general events. It's that simple. We subsidize it, and the deal flow subsidizes it, because, again, we want to create access, but just bear some, and that's for the entire year, by the way. And the events were in Florida, New York, and again, the plan is, and the events are being prepared all over the world. So, and of course, there are higher level memberships, people who want something more exclusive, connections to investors or meeting with certain individuals. Then, memberships run all the way to 50, 100,000, but most people don't need this. And you can't really apply anyway, by the way, directly there. You have to become a general member first. And there's a corporate membership there as well, which is, again, a tiny fraction what anybody would expect. and then, you know, based on the experience, people get invited to higher level membership. So it's quite unique. It's quite amazing. And one more thing I wanted to quickly mention: we kicked off Society Forums, which is incredible. They're online, by the way. These are Zoom calls, video calls every month. And this is also an opportunity for people without flying anywhere, travel anywhere, to meet, to participate, to discuss. But we use this forum in a way that is very powerful. It's not simply networking or discussion of business. This is where our business leaders, entrepreneurs are able to share their pain and suffering with those who are in the same shoes, who understand them better than anybody else. Because, you know, I mean, this role of a leader, you know, we can't really talk to employees or clients. We gotta, you know, march the march and do the talk. But sometimes we all need to talk to others, and it's been very powerful so far. And people share their experiences, perspective, which was mind blowing actually to see. So, and that's been happening every month. And there are some, you know, sometimes for general events we have some guest passes as well. So yeah.
Very awesome. So it's interesting. I want to play the video. I'm going to play the video in a second, and then I want to talk a little bit more even about how it works, because the Lives Amplified is as well the way you have the structure. You are incentivized to help people succeed as well. Everybody does like the events. You and I both know that. It's a nice reel that you have here on the website. Let's watch that, and then we'll circle back.
My name is Russ Wilcox, and I'm CEO of Artifacts AI. I think that this is a marvelous society to do good for the world. If we take a look at institutions like the UN, they have good intentions, but they lack the capital. Here at Lives Amplified, we're able to bring together folks from a variety of different backgrounds, both from the private equity side, from the AI side, from the development side, from the philanthropy side, and really create an ecosystem that can change the world. I think this is an absolutely phenomenal event. I think that the camaraderie is great, but it's amplified by the intellectual diversity, by the philanthropic side, by the money side. I think there's such an opportunity here. I joined as an individual member a few weeks ago, and I will be joining as a corporate member before the end of the year. This was the first event I've been to, and I was just blown away at every level, and I cannot wait to participate more.
My name is Diego Ojeda. I am a real estate developer. I am the president of a family business called Rylea Group, based in Miami, based in Brooklyn. The society is a very interesting organization, and it's a real pleasure to be a part of it and to be able to have the opportunity to be on the panel. Really, to me, it was the mix of people, the backgrounds. It's amazing seeing world leaders here and ambassadors and just people of such high posts. The conversation was fantastic. Get involved. It would be a good idea to join. And you'll be a part of such an interesting network of people from around the world, not only from around the world, but that have had such high posts and that have such a large wealth of knowledge that they can share. Big people's brains here is priceless.
My name is Michael John Green. I'm the Chief of Economic Development and Strategy for the Miami DDA. I like the mix of individuals is what I liked about the event most. I think that you had dignitaries, business people, finance folks, folks in tech, and the conversation was really interesting. It also seems like everyone is really not only interested in themselves and being successful, but also making sure that everyone else is successful. I think that people who have never experienced Live Amplified, I think that it's an amazing group of unique people that are rarely brought together in one spot, and the type of networking that you can do and to build a relationship, I think can last you a long time and make sure that not only you have a fruitful life, but a fruitful career. I would definitely be interested in becoming a member of the society because of the network, but also because of who the people individually are and how they're looking forward for the future of people, for the future of humanity.
My name is Honorable George Hamilton. I'm the Consul General Ambassador for Sierra Leone to Miami. I covered countries like Venezuela, Canada, Chile, Jamaica. I cover about 9 other countries. And one of the reasons I choose to be part of the honorary member is because it uplifts lives, and that's one of my positions of representing my country in Florida. And then also a remarkable network.
My name is Dr. Betty Uribe. I just finished a $358 billion turnaround in California for JP Morgan Chase. and my life changed after I spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast. And I talked to 1,600 leaders from 91 countries. I love this society. Not only is everybody aligned with the core values, but they're very successful. We have leaders here from all over the world at the highest levels. And so you get direct access. And if you think about how it would be outside of these doors to be able to get access to the kind of people that are here, it really is phenomenal. Thank you for creating this environment so that all of us can thrive.
My name is Tiffany. My name is Nia Leona Seville. I thought the society was an incredible experience.
I feel very grateful to be surrounded by such intelligent, successful people.
Mauricio Bejar with Habitat Group. We are a real estate development company here in South Florida, in Miami. It's an honor to be a part of this group. I was very impressed with the participation of the quality of the people that came to the event, the number of people as well, and how it was well organized and run. I definitely think that it will be a plus for us to be able to be a part of this selected group with the high net worth individuals, with the family offices.
My name is Johnny Ching, Dr. Johnny Ching. If you want success, this is the launch pad for going up to the moon. I met many professionals, politicians, technologists, and financiers that I would have never met on any other platform in this such short period of time. Use the opportunity. Don't do it tomorrow. You did it yesterday.
Hey, Trevor, I have a small family office. The society is fantastic. You're talking to people with disparate backgrounds, different types of ideas. It's a tremendous thing if you're looking to diversify your mind and open up your mind into different thoughts. This is how you do it. Because life is about connections and who you talk to and who you know. This is a fantastic idea. Spending the time here, it gets the juices going, you know?
Excited, motivated, inspired, meeting the right people with the right energies that speak to you at the right level. But most importantly, everyone is ambitious in a good way. They're trying to improve themselves, their lives, and it's like-minded people.
My name is Meryl Gladstone Petraccia. I founded 11 Plus Legacy Alliance, which is a company based out of the United States and works in different parts of the world. I'm excited to be a corporate member. They have blended heart with impact in such a beautiful way that it almost feels like a business home, really. What I loved about the event today was the expertise in the different areas. It's a warm place to be. It's, I love the spirit. I love the spirit of the people here and what they're here to accomplish to impact the world and elevate humanity. And it's obvious. It's not lip service. Here, this is what people are doing with their time and their lives. I'm humbled and I very much respect that. And just thank you for keeping up the work so that we can all plug in and we can amplify what it is that we're doing with you.
I am a member. I just became a member of the society, and I can't tell you how excited I am. I am a corporate member. In the moment I had a conversation with Stephen, I realized absolutely I will sign up. I signed up immediately. I put in my money, and here I am. Just a few days later, I flew in from Colombia just to be here. So, and I will never look back. This is absolutely the right tribe in the right place for me to bring my company and my efforts, and I'm going to be bringing other people as well.
It is amazing, and I'll tell you what, that woman, she just makes you smile, right? Every time she talks, she really has it. She really just she's really, you can tell she's a very, very special person.
Yeah, we're really blessed. The people, another reality of our lives, like we all meet a lot of good people. Wish we met more, but there's a lot of really good people. But the truth is, unless there is some bond, there is some element where we interact on a regular basis, we don't get to talk to each other. Like everybody's too busy. Yeah. So that's another amazing blessing for members and everybody who's involved, because number one, you meet incredible people, because it's a pre-selection process, of course, right? We want to make sure that somebody who is a good, decent human being, again, first and foremost, that they want to have an impact, they do something, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could be local business, but local business is important. Everything is local, right? That's how you make a difference, or whatever you do. And the other thing I'd like to stress also, on the foundation side for nonprofits, people don't pay a penny to become members on the foundation. Lives Amplified Foundation, we completely subsidize it. So they're able not just to become members, they're able to become leaders within Lives Amplified Foundation. As I said, this is a recent phenomenon in terms of formal entity creation. So we're going to be kicking off some events, of course, there is a firewall, right, between the foundation and the membership, private society. But at some point, there's going to be cross pollination and everything else as well. So, and we have foundations and nonprofits that are applying for membership from all over the world: the U.S., Africa, Asia, Europe, and they're able to use, without paying a dollar, a penny. This is another way we kind of give back. The society's magnet to do what they do, to help raise with funding, to engage and have bigger access to the counterparty, strategic partners, whatever they want to engage. They use the society magnet for that. And in that case, it's the foundational board. So there are all these and many more opportunities. And this is kind of, these are some of the ways that we help those who want to do good get it done, and get it done easier, faster. Because ultimately, even those who are super capable and work hard and everything else, they're gonna get there, but it's how long, right? So it's all about timing, and it's getting easier and faster, and amplifying the impact. This is our mission, and that's what you're kind of seeing, and this is why the energy of people that you see is what it is.
Yeah, well, you put that many amazing people together, and wonderful things happen. So it's also an agreement, and you're incentivized to help. So if somebody comes in, they want to raise $100 million. I mean, I even have somebody in mind. I'm gonna send this recording to him. As a matter of fact, you'll probably talk to him very soon. We'll talk to him together. But he's big in the gold stuff with some amazing relationships. He needs to put together 100-200 million for to rent the equipment, basically, is what you have to do, or you buy it, one way or the other. The lines get blurred when it's that much machinery, I think, but he would know more about it than I would. So somebody like that comes in, and we are able to put him in front of the right people, and we put together a deal, and that makes everybody money, and that's an important part of this equation.
Yeah, I agree, and it's actually critical because, again, in order to make the world go around, there's a lot of moving parts for that, but one of them is funding, right? And also, to be honest with you, what really, especially again coming from former Soviet Union, when sometimes we wouldn't have food, right? And my mother would ship me literally to her sister just to eat for a day, and the more money is made by people, again, with the right minds, the more people we all could make happy, right? Because money makes a difference. Do you get access to healthcare, good nutrition, and et cetera, et cetera. It's education, everything else. So yes. And in terms of incentivizing people, we were thinking there's an enormous amount of people out there who do good, but they're not where they can be financially. And there's a lot of people also who are great connectors. They know a lot of people, right? But quite often people struggle to monetize their access and connections. And so one of the things that was on the table to kind of address, discuss, and figure out a way is to create an opportunity for people to make money, not just with what they do and for us to help them, but also with and through the society. And this is what you're referring to. So I'll be happy to elaborate on that. So society, we really, we don't really advertise. I appreciate the invitation to be in the program. It's an honor, Bruce, and it's always a pleasure to do anything with you and to have a conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you, I went for a morning walk with my wife. Summer we're running away from Florida into a cooler place in the mountains, but we usually go for a quick walk. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to be talking to Bruce later. She goes, Bruce Porter, with two wonderful girls, and she remembers
Wow.
you. You're an amazing, sweet man, and
Amazing.
and
Thank you.
yeah, and she saw the recording, whatever we did years ago. So she knows you very well, and she understood my joy, because we all wired, we're all suckers for great relationships. Bottom line, some of us more than others. So again, I thank God and you for the opportunity for us to speak purely on the personal level. But to answer your question, so what society did was, because it's all by invitation, it's all by kind of people kind of spreading the word. There's no real advertising, anything, at least so far, and there's no plan for anything meaningful in the near future. But when people introduce members, and again, memberships, start at certain level, as I mentioned, but they go all the way up and up and up into 100,000 plus. These people make money on all the cash flow that comes in on the membership, plus on all the renewals, and it's 10 to 20%, which is quite meaningful. Just pure introduction, 10%. If somebody wants to be a little bit more involved, then it becomes 20%, which again, depending on the person's situation, etc. If they want to talk about society, give a link, etc. So and we even have accounting firm that is on retainer, and all they do, they send out wires, which is pretty cool, and makes us very happy. Some of the happiest moments, by the way, when people who would never expect, and it happens all the time, all of a sudden, say, oh, by the way, we need your wire instruction, and there's going to be money coming in, and quite often it's quite substantial. And on top of that, society, one of the reasons we're able to subsidize our membership level, so people don't have to pay what they would think they would need to pay, is because society gets an interest, has a percentage of the business that happens within society, right? So people expand their business, whatever they do, get money. So society gets a percentage of that, and whoever introduces that business gets percentage. Society gets, again, it varies depending on transaction, whatever, but the person gets 10% of whatever comes into society who introduced the deal, right? And I'll tell you something even more. What we've done is, some people are highly connected, so they bring a lot of the introduced people. They create these group chats, and they put together their own Zooms, and they ask me to come in to just talk briefly. But some people don't know anybody. They may know just one person, right? But who's like yourself, highly connected, right? And if that person introduces, let's say, you, and you're the one who introduces all these business opportunities and members and sponsors, strategic partners, well, you would be the one making, or whoever that person is, making this 10, 20%, etc. But the person who introduced you receives 10% of anything that you or whoever else makes, right? So again, and it gets substantial, and it is all including on the business side of it, and membership, and it's all ongoing, and that's how. And it's all on the record, everybody else, and we have write-ups on this also. So that's very exciting to people from all over the world, because now they're able to not just grow their businesses, not just raise capital, not just access amazing people, and have a great time while doing it, and have all these experiences, but at the same time also start making money just purely by bringing wonderful information and news, because people are always grateful, no matter what it is. And I think it's a no-brainer. The world society is not a secret, but the world doesn't know about it. So when people learn about it from somebody, they're always grateful. It's a major value somebody delivers. And serious people, serious business people tend to become members, do some business, sponsorship, whatever. Then these people also make money, and it's on an ongoing basis. So it's been a wonderful additional blessing to create these cash flow opportunities, and it's really passive cash flow and ongoing. Once somebody gets introduced, they just collect funding. So real blessing, and we bring a lot of joy, smiles, and money into people's accounts, which is really cool.
Well, I can attest to it as well firsthand. So that is it is something that is it is remarkable, and the amounts are considerable. So I think it's an important part about it. I wanted to bring it up. For the average person that is going to want to join, they're going to want to come in, they're going to want to build their business, they're going to want to meet people that may not be part of your your business plan. But for some people, that's going to be quite possibly a remarkable situation. And so I wanted to bring it up. And it's great that you guys share like that, because it shows that it's about growing. In order to grow, it's like I tell the guys, they start their companies and they have all these coins, or they have all these stocks and this and that and the other. And you have to get those coins, you have to get those stocks out to the people. Otherwise, you can never grow. And that's and so that's important.
Yeah, there are many ways to grow, by the way, in many unexpected ways. I mean, to be honest with you, some of our members actually, it was never ever discussed. Okay, but we also have, for certain level of membership, more exclusive experiences and access, of course, right? And some of our members became members of royal courts already. And it's just, I mean, it was completely unexpected, but there was an event, we had some government representatives there, and and kingdom, and one thing after the other within a very short period of time. So I mean, that's kind of on one side, but the other side, I also wanted to tell you, we do have members that are just professionals, and when I say just, meaning, because I don't want to give a sense that this is only for these major companies or wealthy people. Absolutely not. In fact, we work very hard not to make it stuffy. A lot of our members also, and we keep getting that feedback, because good ideas, nobody has monopoly of good ideas, and these investors also, hedge funds. One of our members, I don't want to use names because it's a private society, but some of these people on our videos, you played one video, there's our events covered by many different videos, and you could actually meet him. I just don't want to say exactly, but major venture capitalist, and he said, Steve, I also want, this is why one of the reasons I love the society, because it's a beautiful, amazing mix, and some people just trying to get into the business world, they may not know how to do it, they may not have the capital to do it, but they have a brilliant idea. And I want to meet these people because I want to fund their dreams if it makes sense. That's what we do. So I want to make sure, and this is important point to stress, that it's not, and also it's been priced, to make sure that practically anybody could afford this. And we even provide payment plans, to support, as crazy as it may sound too, to break whatever, just to help people get there while covering. And as I said, a foundation for nonprofits, they don't pay a penny, and it just have to be approved. Unfortunately, there's too many nonprofits that look and sound like nonprofit, but there is nothing happening there, and that's frankly speaking, in my experience, unfortunately, vast majority of them. But if we see something real and we see some activity, we want to support it, and this is where they don't spend a penny. We just help them gain this next level of access, connections, by them using the foundation, again, the uniquely, amazingly powerful magnet to attract to them whom they want to attract, including investors, funders, sponsors, strategic partners, etc.
Amazing. Well, I want this to fit in to an hour-long segment, so I think that we'll call it for today. We're going to be talking a lot more. Lives Amplified, guys. Make sure to check them out. livesamplified.org. If you want to go directly to my referral link, it's /REF/impact money. Impact money, right? Impact money. Yes, that's my brand. So Impact Money. As well, if you would like to talk to Dr. Stephen Melnick, you can reach me there. I have my Calendly scrolling across the bottom. Reach out to me, and we can set that up. We can make it happen. There's a lot that we can do, and I think that we will do. And I appreciate you coming on, Dr. Melnick. It's always a pleasure.
It's a real treat, Bruce, to spend time with you. It's beyond pleasure for me, and this. I've always been telling you this for many years. You're an amazing man. You have an amazing soul. You're a great father. You're a great husband. You want to do the good thing, the right thing. I've seen you in action all over the world, each time some crazy place, which always been wonderful. And for your audience, we're happy to support their efforts, and people could participate in many ways. You don't have to, by the way, one doesn't even have to be a member to benefit from society, to make money through the society. There are many pathways to do that. There are other people who could engage by simply hosting events, or it's really endless. So we invite people to be open-minded and really take advantage of the opportunity. Like with anything else in business, with real estate, they say it's all about location, right? With opportunity, it's all about timing. And we have a lot of leadership positions available, and whatever other opportunities, whatever you do, you meaning the person who's watching your programming, and if you feel it could be beneficial to you and it could benefit our member society, which is what it's all about. We ask just 2 questions when people apply for the membership, and there's a way to do it online too on the side. One is, what are you looking to gain from the society? What do you really want to do? But the other side is, how could you benefit other members, right? Because it's critical. I mean, with everything that there is, but we also want members supporting each other, which has been wonderful, wonderful experience, as you've seen in some of the videos. So yeah, it's been a real pleasure, Bruce. Thank you for your time. I look forward to more, and anything that we can do to support your efforts, it would be our pleasure.
Amazing. Well, it's where you mentioned your wife. My wife, of course, knows Stephen Melnick as well. I mentioned I talked to you the other day. Obviously, I gave her a little bit of the news as well, and I send my best as well to your wife. And I have like I said, I have a lot of respect for you. You have a beautiful family as well. Having a family is something I tell the young guys all the time. Don't miss it, guys. Don't miss the moment. And if you did, it's okay. Life is life. You go on. But if you're in that spot, don't miss it. It's a beautiful thing, and you definitely want to do it. And you have a beautiful family as well. Happy to have you on. It's a big pleasure, big honor. Thanks so much, and we'll have you on again. See you
Bruce,
soon.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Looking forward. And my best regards and my best wishes to your wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.